A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend. ChristiTutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Leonard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and an occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show!
Hello, everybody. With me today is C.C. Robinson. How are you?
We are great here in Cincinnati, Ohio, buried under almost a foot of snow.
Yeah. All right. Since you said that, let me look at my calendar again. Yeah, today is Monday, January the 6th. So when they hear this, they may look out their window and say, it's 80 degrees out.
I don't think Cincinnati is going to forget this anytime soon.
Oh, at any rate, and as my audience knows, I can't pass on lame puns and wordplay. So the first thing I've got to do is ask you, you're Christy Robinson, but your
Yes.
author name is C.C. Robinson.
Yes.
Right? Are you related to Christopher Robinson at all?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe my husband's family is, but yeah, Robinson is my married name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's right. I'm asking the wrong Robinson.
And there are lots of Robinsons. Like people have asked us if we're related to a lot of Robinsons. And
But
I'm like, I
better explain the joke in case it went past some others in the audience too. Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. I didn't recognize that. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I've got a cold, so I'm in a fog. I am just in an. If you'd have said the joke to me, it probably would have went past me because of my cold head fog. See already. Here we go.
Well, and my brain's probably frozen. My brain's probably frozen anyway, so that's okay.
So, indeed, the proverbial first question, and I like to joke, the Cue the Who song. Who are you? Who, right?
Yes.
Where were you
Who
born
am
and
I?
Raised and all that?
So I was actually.
Well, we know where you are now. You already said that.
Yeah. I am in Cincinnati. I was born on the coast of North Carolina while my dad was in the military in Vietnam. So I was born on a beach area, and I'm so not on the beach now. But my parents moved around for a little while. And then I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. So right down the street from where I live, literally an hour and a half. And then met and married my husband in Nashville, Tennessee. We have 3 amazing kids who are all adults and all helped shovel that foot of snow we had. And we live in Cincinnati. I'm an associate pastor at our church, and I'm also the director of finance and an author. So I've written stories most of my life, but I kept them to myself or just put them in my head and left them there. So if you see me walking around looking like I'm daydreaming, I'm probably making up a story about you. So it's okay. I will only print it if you make me really mad, and then I'll maybe make you the villain, but that's okay.
So you're a Taylor Swift type. Right.
Exactly.
Writing about all her exes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really don't do that. That's a joke. I really don't do that. I work through my grudges with Jesus, not with pen.
Yeah. And another thing I was going to get to later, but I'm going to jump ahead to now. I don't script my shows, but I do have a few notes. We just go where it goes. So I'm going to skip ahead to what I thought I'd do later. You and I have something in common. Our lead character named Martin, although my middle name is Martin, though, too. Why are you turning me into a bad guy?
I'm so sorry. It's the name that came to me. So you know how that is. Like
Yep.
my characters, like other people will sit and plot and script their characters up. My characters usually appear to me in a dream and introduce themselves. And I know I sound crazy when I say that, but if I don't write enough, like Marcos, who is my main character for Divided, he would come to me in my dream and be like, "Hello, I need freedom." I'm like, "Are you kidding?" Okay, all right, all right, all right. So yeah, that name was not just plucked out of the universe. I saw the Supreme Commander. I heard people talking about him in a dream, and an all-night dream. And I saw our nation after we had fought a civil war, and then Martin had divided us into our racial groups, separating us behind walls, telling us we could not get along. So he was going to separate us for our own good. But we know anytime a dictator does anything for your own good, it's really not for you, it's for him. It was all about control. And so that's where we are in Divided. Is Martin is the big bad guy, but we don't really see him a whole lot in these first couple books. We'll get to him later.
Right. So it is a planned series then.
Oh, absolutely. 4 books. I've already written to the end, so I know how it ends.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said they come to you in a dream, because that's how my books come to me too. I like to say they are not from me, they are through me.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like God has called me to write this because especially our young people today need to hear a message that they're not hearing from a whole lot of other places. And that is, if you don't work together and learn how to disagree without becoming disagreeable while still working together, then our nation's going to go up in flames.
Yep. And well, oh, wait a minute. Let me write myself a note. I'm going to write that down, go there next. Otherwise, I won't remember with this cold fog head.
I get it. I get it.
But characters. I'm glad you said that also, because in my Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You book, my main character, Martin, who's a good guy, though. I spell it Marten to make it different. So, but his wife's name was originally going to be Marina, only because I knew a couple girls of Russian heritage that had that name. And they were very pleasant people. I liked them. I liked the name. I said I was going to use it in the book someday. But when the time came, I didn't like the fact that it would give that potential hint of the heritage of the character that I might not necessarily want. So I started going through the list. All right, it's a Christian book, but it's a non-traditional book on terrorism, not a very traditional, fluffy kind of Christian book, obviously, right?
No.
So charity, okay, faith, maybe, and I settled on hope. Because in a way, even though she's a fictional character, there's both then somewhat figurative hope as well as literal through the character name hope. And so you understand, obviously, with what you're saying, the importance of the character name and what you want to put forth and what you don't accidentally want put forth.
Absolutely. And so I have a character named Harriet, and she's a Black American.
Harriet Tubman immediately comes to mind.
It should. And I would say that she is a pre-fleeing her slave master's Harriet right now. She hasn't yet found the source of her bravery or the source of her courage. But that is a big character arc for her over the series. She's got some stuff she needs to deal with, and I have to tease it because I can't reveal. It's not a reveal until the end of book 2, which is in production now. But Harriet has some big stuff she's got to deal with that is snuffing her courage and keeps her from really accomplishing what she's meant to accomplish. So yes, very intentionally. But again, she introduced herself to me. I didn't come up with that name. Like people say, oh, that's too on the nose. I'm like, not my fault. Sorry, not my fault. Now,
Well, you know,
I did come up with some of my character names, so I will say that. And I gave her mother the name of Ruth. Not only is it my oldest daughter's name, so there's a little like nod there,
and
but
the biblical.
the biblical Ruth, coming as a foreigner into that land and choosing to do something even though it was very difficult. That is Ruth's backstory, which maybe one day we will get.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about Harriet, and people might say, well, it's too on the nose. Well, there's a whole lot of people, sadly, don't know any history, won't even know
Yeah.
who the hell we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And, G.W. Bush, we were supposed to get Harriet Tubman to replace Wilson on the $20 bill.
I know.
Why has that not happened yet?
I know.
I put forth a We the People demand list. And on that is, let's create a new bill. All right. You don't want to remove Wilson after the inflation we just went through? $75 isn't a whole lot of money.
Yep.
Let's create a $75 bill. Put Harriet Tubman on it. But then again, there's a lot of people who do know history, don't want Harriet's story fully told, and that's why they block it.
Yeah, and that's a shame because I really think that until we choose to really not only acknowledge, but deal personally with our history as a nation, then we're not going to be able to move forward. Like if you have a cut on your arm and you just go, there's no cut on my arm. There's no cut on my arm. Guess what? Pretty soon that cut on your arm is going to be infected, and that cut on your arm could turn into sepsis. So like just ignoring a wound is really not a great strategy.
No.
It's not going to be the thing that moves us forward. And I agree completely. I was so sad when that effort just kind of died in the water. Because I really think that we need as a nation to recognize our history, confront it, and then sort of deal with it in a way.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that looks like. I've seen this and been part of it on a micro level. I lead in a diverse church, and we are ethnically diverse. You come to our church and you can't really tell what's the predominant. You might think it's Black, but there's Black Africans and there's Black Americans. Or you may think there's white, but gosh, we have some people that look white, but they're really like Hispanic or Asian, or they're complete mix.
Yeah.
And when you're in that context, you have to learn how to reconcile racially. And so we haven't done that as a nation.
Yeah. Well, Martin Luther King Jr., a dream, right? And
yes,
currently there's a whole lot of people screwing it up. The CRT and all the crud is inserting racial division, not unity. The left has literally gone back to segregationism.
Yes.
They want to segregate Black-only dorms or Black-only graduation ceremonies. And that's not diversity and inclusion.
No,
that's segregation and separation. And by the time this show will air, we got nowhere near the first question I was expecting to ask.
Sorry, I keep throwing you these like curveballs, and you just hit them.
Yeah,
just hit them.
But now I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, the segregate. By the time this airs, I will have released in January of 2025 a monologue show, as well as thelibertybeacon.com, that my Saturday shows correspond with, a one called E Pluribus Unum, right? From many, one. We are the great melting pot. So don't tell me DEI. I'm going to tell you E Pluribus Unum. You're dealing in separation, not togetherness. We are the melting pot.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's interesting, like Canada has more of a theory or a thinking that like it's more like a stew, and everyone can still have their flavor in everything. And there's some merit to that, because I think unless we really acknowledge and celebrate different cultures, we're going to be guilty of trampling on them unintentionally, maybe even. So I think we need to appreciate other cultures. We need to learn about other cultures and not just be ignorant based on in our own little bubble. And I just as you said, like this, I think that's the problem right now, is that everyone is kind of being forced into their groups. I was told as a white person that I can't write this book, I can't write this series.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all.
But it's interesting because a lot of other writers said, well, that's preposterous. I'm not a serial killer, but yet I write serial killers. And writers know with enough research, you can get there. And I feel like it's that way with people too. With enough research, with enough learning, we can get to a place of understanding. We just have to want to.
Yeah. Now, of course, got to put the disclaimer in. Things aren't perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. No one is ever perfect. If you're expecting perfect, you're delusional.
Yes.
But we have gotten better. And we are indeed, again, the most diverse and inclusive on the planet. And you have the freedom, equality of opportunity to make of yourself. And if not for all those cultures, we wouldn't have our unique American culture. Like may as well go there now, right? My heritage mainly is Italian, German, and Polish. The last name Leonard was Leonard Owaskowski or whatever at some time. I haven't dug far enough into the genealogy to find that out yet. But Keeler on my mother's side, as well as Sloveni, Italian on my mother's side too. So and it's okay to recognize those as long as you're not putting those above that you're an American. Yes.
Yeah. And like in my book, so there's several characters who are mixed race, and they are not like saying, oh, you got to treat me this way because I'm X, Y, or Z. They're just who they are. And it is just part of who they are to be of a mixed ethnicity. And so there's an onus that we have as people of varying backgrounds to know our, history, to know what our, DNA is like, or what our ancestors did. We might have some gold there that can be dug out, not literal gold, but figurative gold.
Right. You're leading me into the question that I was going to. Italian, Polish, German, what is your background?
So I am a mutt. Is the only way to say it. Let's start north and work our way south.
So your husband picked you up from the local humane society?
Yeah, pretty much. So I on my mom's side, I've got German, Irish, Scottish, and English. My dad's side, we found out when I was already an adult that my great-grandfather was full-blooded Jewish, emigrated to the U.S. in order to escape persecution in southern Germany. And then on his side, we also have a lot of English, a lot of Scottish, and then also Polish, which we always saw as Hungarian, but that was the Hungarian Empire, and it's really Poland now. And so my great-grandmother's entire family was Polish. And so like goulash and Keithley's and poppy seed rolls, those are part of the currency of my growing up, alongside challah and cranberry sauce and pumpkin pie. So like you just can't, I am who I am, and all that mess has made me who I am today. And I love new foods. I love learning about new cultures. And I think that's part of being the child of so many different immigrants, because they had to learn a new culture. And so I've been blessed to receive that curiosity from all of them.
It's homage. It's not cultural appropriation.
Mhm.
We want to pick pieces of
Mhm.
our other cultures and
Mhm.
pay honor to them. It's not
Mhm.
like, unless, which okay, got to make a couple disclaimers right before I forget. Disclaimer one. The mutt joke about the pound. All right, look, it's just a
I went
dumb
there.
joke. Just a
I went there.
dumb joke. Yes, okay, but oh my God, you can't say that to a woman. I was like, let's lighten up, people. That was just a joke. And
No, and I went there, so you are released from it.
well, some just so hypersensitive, and that's part of our problem today. Too hypersensitive. But indeed, and the other thing, the other disclaimer is not this again, not perfect, not to say there aren't people who are racist, overtly racist and whatnot.
Absolutely,
and frankly, I want them to vocalize it. I want to know who they are. I don't want them hiding in the shadows. I want to know we have First Amendment. If you want to talk ill of Jewish people or Black people or whatever, I want to know, because I want nothing to do with you then.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that is so important what you raised, because when we try to silence people because we don't agree with their speech, all it does is drive that speech underground. And, that's what happened in my book. Is there was a rebel movement that was already fighting Martin, even as he took power. But because of his control and the dictatorial nature of his rule, they went underground, and literally underground. And we see that in other dictatorships now. We see that rebellion going underground. So you don't snuff it out. All you do is, one, make it grow, because rebellion is appealing. Hello, we're human. And two is strengthen them by making it outlawed. Anything you outlaw like that is only going to be strengthened. So I want to know if people are racist. I want to know if they have that issue, because we can't deal with it unless we recognize it.
Exactly. You have your free speech to vocalize it, as long as you're not inciting violence towards anyone or whatever. I like to joke. I've used it on a couple of shows before, right? Now, I wear glasses too, but for the benefit of the transcript and those on audio, I have glasses. So does our guest, CC Robinson. I haven't mentioned your name again in a while, so I better get that in there, right? But hey, I can hate people with glasses all day long. As long as I'm not inciting anyone to violence towards people with that wear glasses, then that's not a problem.
Yeah, and I think, that hatred, when it comes into the public space and you express it, you can't get mad at people then confronting you. And I see this sometimes especially on social media, when someone expresses an opinion and then they get upset in the comments that people are coming for them. I'm like, you open the door. So if you don't want to open that door, then you don't say it. So I hear you in that. And I also think that and words are not violence. That's not a violence back at you. That is challenge. And some people can't handle challenge. And okay, so if you're one of those who can't handle challenge, then you best not open your mouth.
Right.
You best not say it.
The people that can't handle challenge are the same ones usually that are in the category of those who warp and twist language. They can't have an honest discussion. I should keep a dictionary here so I can hold it up, because I go into this a lot on many shows, right? The dictionary definitions, they can't use them. So they have to keep trying to twist them and change them so that they can vocalize something that isn't reality. They can peddle their delusion and muddy the waters through warping of terms.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Joseph M. Leonard, host of ChristiTutionalist, taking a brief moment to thank my architect, myarkit.com. Together, we share the Christian and family value of honoring family. myarkit.com helps you do that. Preserving family memories online also, therefore, can be shared online. Think of myArkit like a Noah's Ark for images, audio, video, preserving, honoring your family. Thank you again to the folks over at myarkit.com.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you and I are both Christ followers. And so we have the thing in common that the Word of God is the foundation of truth. And, if I come into the Word of God and my thinking is not right, it's going to set me right if I let it. And I feel like in the same, if you let it, the same thing can happen in the public space with public discourse. When truth is presented, people can get offended by it, but it's still truth. And, so what are you going to do? The truth offends you? I'm so sorry, but that's the truth.
Yeah, it's like the Bible. I didn't know we were going to go this route because my guests don't have to be Christian or don't have to deal in politics. It just we haven't gotten to the award yet, which is why you're here. But we'll get there next. I think we're going to go a little longer with you than I normally go. I think because I haven't even gotten anything I expected to talk to you about.
We have quite a bit in common.
Yeah, well, it's my OCD, ADHD brain. It just, woohoo, new rabbit hole.
ADHD over here.
Yeah.
ADHD. We're ADHD together. We're just like, ooh.
Yeah, well, the phone is, okay, there we go. All right. The wrong phone was ringing. That was a call I didn't need to take, but
awesome.
I told you in the green room, I'm expecting a call that I have to take. So I didn't unplug the phone. So, but at any rate, now I've lost my train of thought.
Award.
The twisting and warping of the Bible.
Yes.
Like you said, if you let it, sets you right. A lot of people want to push their worldview onto Jesus and the Bible, pick and choose a scripture like a render unto Caesar, and think it's a entire governance statement. It is not. And Jesus also said the poor will always be among you. It is not a statement of economics, nor is it one of governance. It is of human nature, as you mentioned before. It's a human nature thing. For thousands of years, before Christ, after Christ, forever, human nature, we've been given free will, and there will always be some who never, ever want to make anything of themselves. So the concept that you're going to eliminate poverty entirely is just idiotic. It's not biblical.
Yeah, and I write dystopian.
We can try. We should try.
You can try. And I write dystopian literature, so even more so. Like I generally take one evil, one thing that I see that it's wrong, and I blow it up to where it would end up if we let it rule. And I mean, if we think back to our own nation with slavery, the Bible was used to support slavery. Does that make the Bible wrong? No, that makes the people who interpreted the Bible wrong. And, so you have to have a good interpretation. But even if you look at it from a dystopian view, there can be rulers in this world. The people of Israel living in Egypt, that wasn't exactly comfortable. They were in slavery. And yet God allowed them to suffer that for 400 years because he had a plan in mind to free them. And so we can't forget that even in the midst of evil ruling, even in the midst of something that appears to be not right, there's still a plan. God has a plan for this, and he might involve us. He might ask us to do something because it may be that there's something wrong that needs to be righted. But yes, you're right. There is always going to be evil among us because we as humans are evil in our very nature. We will make choices against the way God wants us to make. And is that Like, should we fix that? Well, I'd have to fix you.
Okay, so indeed, item 1 on the list. Now
Item
what?
1.
So just 25 minutes in. International Firebird Book Awards.
Yes. So not only that, but Divided has also won the Moonbeam Children's Book Award. Now you may think children's book is like picture book, includes young adult fiction, which I would fall into. And we've also made the short list or the long list, whatever you want to call it, for Chanticleer's YA award, the Dante Rossetti Award. So I won't hear that until May, but I'm just so honored that Divided is being recognized like this. Of course, there's the humble pie of NetGalley reviewers who trash me and go, it's the same thing over and over. And I'm like, really? Because I don't see any other, I really don't see any other actual dystopian novels who are really hitting diversity and division and hatred like I do, racial hatred. So, it's just an honor to be have received those awards and to be among the company of other authors that have received those awards.
Yeah, I go into that in my How to Write a Book and Get It Published hints, tips, and techniques for those who are thinking about publishing, from concept to writing to publishing to marketing to indeed reviews. The trolls will always be there. The trolls are always the most vocal.
Yeah.
The trolls just love to attack people.
Yeah, and I'm not going to call NetGalley reviewers trolls, but they are kind of harsh. They can be really demanding, and I want to get better, and so I read those reviews, I listen, and improve the craft.
No, there's a difference between something constructive and something just, I hate your stuff.
Exactly, and there's a mix.
Yeah, because I had one review from someone, so I was disappointed. I was expecting there to be more dialogue, and another reviewer saw that review, decided to leave a review of their review in a way, said, well, what has this author ever said in way of dialogue that made you to believe it was a dialogue-laden book? So, yeah.
Yeah,
I understand you may have preferred more dialogue, but that's not how I write.
And I have friends who don't even read their reviews. They can't handle it. And I respect that as well. I do read the reviews. I read every one. And if there's criticism, especially if it's constructive, I take that to heart because I'm still learning. Divided was my first novel released, and I do work with an editor, and she's pretty tough on me. But, there's always ways to grow, and you're never perfect. Only Jesus is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I said it earlier, right? No such thing as perfect. We got to get out the sin of hubris, right?
Yes.
It's not pride. The sin is hubris because, back to twisting and warping of language, like the root of all evil is money. No, that's not what it says. No. The love of money is the root. So it's this twisting and distorting. I should be proud of my son hitting the walk-off home run at Little League. I should be proud of my daughter getting all A's on her report card. If I solve a problem at work, I should be proud of it. It's a problem if it's hubris and you go into the boss, pound on the desk, I demand my salary be doubled because I'm the only person on the planet that gets anything done around here. Then it's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Back to the award. Because it says here, and I thought this was really nice and unique because there are various different award things and whatnot, but this ties in a charity. And at my terrorstrikes.info site for my book, I have terrorstrikes.info/charity, where I try to promote charity as much as I can through that book too, because charity being a Christian value in a Christian book. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about that charitable tie?
Yes. So most award programs will charge a review fee, and it's because they need to find reviewers to read your books. And I get that, and I completely understand, and I support that because we need to actually let people work and earn money for their work. But the International Firebird Awards charges a fee that then is donated to a local nonprofit that works to help women who are homeless. And I would even say I challenged in homing right now, because I've known people who have gone through periods of not having a home, and it is a struggle, and they're trying their best to keep their family intact, to feed their kids and to get back on their feet. And so this charity helps with that. And I love that my award program fee goes to help that. And I love that that's what they're doing. And so I chose that program among a lot of other options I had. You know, we have limited funds, so I had a budget for what I would spend on award programs, and I wanted the International Firebird to be part of that. And because of that reason, I've worked in charity, I've worked in nonprofits for 20 years, 20 plus years. I can't even remember, 24 years almost. And I think it is it's a good thing that they're doing, that I had an opportunity to support as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I have not heard that of any other award organization.
I haven't either. It was the first one I encountered, and I've looked at a lot of award programs.
It was I actually wanted you on to talk more about them than about you.
Oh, that's great. I love it. I'll make sure I grab this little thing and plug it out.
Yeah, just a joke, people. Just a joke. God, people, can we calm down, please? But like even in my Terror Strikes book, there's a comic relief chapter to make that point. Things are so serious, you gotta keep a sense of humor.
Oh, yes. Right? I have a character in Divided that is a bit of a comic relief as well, because dystopian can get really heavy, and the friends themselves have times when they're relaxing and they're getting to know each other, they're getting to know the cultures, because they've been divided for 45 years. So these kids have grown up not having known someone from another ethnicity, unlike us, where we're really, our culture is a blend of a lot of different ethnicities, a lot of different focuses, but in their times they don't have that, and they're curious. And so I love that curiosity, that humor, that those times of rest can come in the middle of all the action.
Yeah. Have you heard of a site called Story Rocket?
Not Story Rocket. I've heard Story Origin.
Okay,
Story Rocket. Tell me about Story Rocket.
I'm going to suggest it because my book's there. I'm looking to try to get it adapted to the screen, right? Yours series lends itself to something that would come to the screen. So you put your book on StoryRocket.com, I think, but it's Story Rocket. You can Google it, I'm sure, no problem, find it. I mentioned it in How to Write a Book and Get It Published too for others. Yeah, Story Rocket allows you to kind of get your book in front of people who are in the Hollywood or movie making industry, not necessarily even Hollywood either. A lot more independent studios now, which is good. So you don't have to know somebody who knows somebody. You could put your book up on there. They're there looking, actors, actresses, producers, directors, studios. They're looking for content there that they might want to move forward with. And I think your material lends itself very much to that, and you might get picked up.
I will check that out for sure. Absolutely. Thank you for the suggestion.
Yep, no problem. Okay, so moving down the list, starting to wrap things up. What's the deal? Yeah, what's the deal? Turned into the Seinfeld show here. What's the deal? Speak up, talk right. It's my brain fog today. I'm just so out of it with these medications, but now I don't even remember it. Speak Up Talk Radio.
Yes. So Speak Up Talk Radio is a partner, and I was on one of their podcasts. So yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there's not a direct affiliation or with the
No.
wards or anything like that. Okay.
No, that is part of the whole, I guess, like organization. Yes.
All righty.
The Speak Up Talk Radio, I believe, and I'm not part of it. That's why I'm hesitating. I believe they help amplify the Firebird International Awards. Mhm.
Oh, okay. All right. That
Yeah,
makes sense
yeah.
there then.
Mhm.
All right. I know what your website is, but
Yes.
this is an audio show mostly. So tell our audience, it will be in the extended show note version. If you go to Buzzsprout, find the show. The transcript has extended related links in it, in the transcript there. But tell, for those listening, what it is.
Mhm. So it is ccrobinsonauthor.com. And on there, I have a special offer for your listeners, for the listeners of the ChristiTutionalist podcast, and that is a free ebook. Join my newsletter list. There's plenty of places to subscribe. The buttons are available everywhere, both on the homepage and on ccrobinsonauthor.com/subscribe, and you will get Upheaval for free. That is an ebook that sells on Amazon, but you'll get it for free.
Great. Yeah. And again, that's ccrobinsonauthor.com, not
Yes.
Winnie the Pooh and Christopher
Not Winnie the
Robinson.com.
Pooh or Christopher Robinson. Nope, none of those. Not Mrs. Robinson either. We're not going to channel the Beatles. That's the one I typically get is the Mrs. Robinson.
No, I'm
Yes.
amazed my
Yes.
brain didn't go there. Yeah, and now the rest of this day I'm going to have that doggone tune in my head. So
I'm
here's
so sorry.
to you, Mrs. Robinson.
I'm so sorry.
Oh boy. Yeah, thank you. No, thank you.
Mhm. Sorry about that. And on all the socials, I'm also CC Robinson author. So come find me. I love engaging with listeners, with readers.
That's great. Thank you for coming on the show, CC Robinson.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM is your conservative flamethrower. Weekdays, Steve Gruber starts things off at 6 a.m. Gruber gives his perspective on the issues of the day. At 9 a.m., Glenn Beck blazes the airwaves with his nationally syndicated program. From noon to 3, it's Dennis Prager. At 3 o'clock, it's Wham's own Thayrone X. On the Edge, Thayrone tells it exactly as he sees it. At 6, it's The Dana Show, your conservative alternative. At 8, don't miss Joe Pags. Weekends are filled with conservative talk as well. Fingers Malloy, Thomas LeDuc, The Abolitionists Roundtable, A Moment of Clarity with Pastor Rick, Your American Heritage with Ed Bondarenka, Dave Janda's Operation Freedom, and Dick Kupke's Trigger Talk. You can even get links to Wham podcasts from Dave, Dick, and of course Thayrone, all from their pages on our website, whamradio.com. Keep it locked on Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM in southeastern Michigan, and whamradio.com anywhere in the world.